Hey everyone, welcome once again to our channel. Today I have a very special guest with me, Miss Marisol from Philippines. Hi Marisol, how are you?
I'm doing great, Nawab. Thanks for inviting me again.
Tell me about yourself. How are you? How's things been since our last talk?
Well, we're still in quarantine, but things are getting into normal now. So we're still continue working.
Perfectly fine. So let's begin our top 5 tips for speaking part 1. The stage is yours now.
Okay. All right. So for the speaking task one, so some of students find the task one very hard because some of them have already failed the speaking test and there's a trauma, so they're very nervous. And the first tip that I would advise for them is to think of the examiner as someone who's on their side. So think of the most comfortable person they're talking to. So imagine that person. So that will release the nerves. I had a student who was a stutterer. So she was really very nervous. So she failed speaking a couple of times. So that's the tip the advice I gave her, to think of her best friend so that she will be more comfortable talking to the examiner. And then related to that, my second tip would be to use expressions like well, actually, or basically. So for those who stutter a lot and they have a lot of fillers like ums, ers, or even worse, they have a lot of dead air. So try to use those expressions. So you can stretch
Mm,
if you can say and. So that's to minimize the dead air. And if
mhm,
sometimes you get mental block. So we could think aloud. You could say to the examiner, could you give me a moment to think about that? Or you could just repeat the question itself. What is the most interesting place in my hometown? So try to think aloud. So that is an advanced skill. So rather than having that dead air. And then for my tip number three is to always think of top two. So say for example, hometown is a very common question in the part one. So always think of top two things about your hometown. What are the top two attractions or top two interesting spots in your hometown? Think of two reasons why this is your favorite food or favorite movie. So that will, give you a smooth flow. So you need to think very fast. And then
mhm,
my tip number four is to always extend your answers. So there's no such thing as a yes or no answer. So say for example, the examiner asks you, do you like shopping? So don't just say yes. Always don't wait for a follow-up question like why. Always give the reasons. Yes, I love shopping because, and then cite your top two reasons. And
mhm,
then for my last tip, always think of your personal experience. Always use personal experience because if it's from your personal experience, it's easier for you to describe. But question is, Marisol, if I don't have personal experience, say for example, when the examiner asks you to describe a museum and you have never been to a museum, so never say I don't know. So if even if you don't have personal experience about a certain situation or event, so you could say based from a friend's experience or based from what I've read or based from what I've seen in the movies. So in that way, you could still answer. So it's not, there's no right or wrong answer. It's how you answer that is very important. So those are my five top tips for speaking part
perfectly
one.
fine. Okay, listening to your tips, I have come across a question which have always been asked from my side, from my students, and I would like to have your views on that as well.
Mm-hmm.
See, most of my students, they ask me that how longer or how shorter our answers should be in part one. Is there any kind of like organized or suggested length of an answer?
Okay. So as I've said, so always think of top two because that's where you can, use linking words. Furthermore, another reason, another advantage. So avoid one sentence answers. So always,
Hmm.
again, that's why you need to extend your answers and always give concrete examples. So, but don't
Hmm.
avoid being circular. So that's why top
Hmm.
two answers and then you can already end and move on to the next
Right.
question.
So it means you are trying to say that there is no specific sentence length or answer length
Mm-hmm.
to any questions being asked in part one.
Mm-hmm. As long as you know you have 2 points that you are able to at least
Mm-hmm.
expound the 2 to 3 sentences for each point, and that's it. So it's not the
That's it. Okay,
quantity;
perfect.
it's the quality of your answers is very important. So that's why focus more on the quality of your answers rather than the quantity.
Rather than speaking a lot, we should speak properly,
Yes,
and
yes. Because the tendency, if you
the
speak a
answer
lot, you
should
have
be
tend to be
decorated,
circular,
decorated enough.
and that could affect your coherence and cohesion.
Exactly, exactly. So, to wind up our talk, I would once again be very thankful to you, Marisol, for joining us for our speaking part one session, and you're sharing your top five tips for the test. And it is useless to say, but once again, I'll say that we'll be having another session with you, hopefully in the future,
Yeah,
maybe in a
sure,
15 days
sure,
time or a one
anytime.
week time.
Yeah,
And
just
I know that you have joined our team like as a permanent member, as a permanent expert, and we will be keep sharing your tips on our podium, right?
yes, yes. Thanks, Noah, for having me again, and look forward to working with you
No,
again.
no. Basically, we are thankful to you because you have accepted our invitation gratefully, and we are honored to have you on our podium. So, thank you, Marisol. Have a blessed weekend ahead.
You too. Bye for
Thank you.
now.
Bye. Yeah, bye. Thank you.